from KSEV, the voice of Texas. This is Guns Over Texas. Jeff Sanford and Gary Montgomery are the gun nuts. They believe in America. They fight for your Second Amendment rights. They teach safety, advanced shooting skills, and responsible gun ownership. They just love guns. Guns Over Texas starts now.
First hour went by real fast. We had a bunch of callers, so if you want to continue to call in and talk and you can be a part of the conversation, you can give us a call at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738. You can also get us in the conversation at Guns Over Texas Radio Facebook. Gary's manning that page.
Indeed.
And GunsOverTexasRadio.com.
Yes, because I will actually check my email, unlike Jeff.
I haven't checked that email in over a month.
I know you haven't.
So if you need to get in touch with us, send Gary the email. Don't send it to me. Or you can send it to info at ShilohShooting.com. That's one that I check. So. All right. Back to the show. We're going to start this hour off talking to a buddy of ours, Lad Mandiola. Lad represents Fox Knives here in town. So, Lad, welcome to Guns Over Texas. And actually, we need to get that microphone up in your face. There we go.
Okay, so I hope everyone hears me now.
Well, talk into the microphone. There you go.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, so, Lad, welcome to Guns Over Texas. Is this your first time on the air?
Yes, it is.
We're glad that we could break you into the industry.
Okay, fantastic.
All
awesome.
Right, why don't you tell us a little bit about Fox Knives? We talk about less lethal options quite a bit here on the show, but we've never had an actual, knife guy join us. So you don't have.
You consider a knife less lethal?
Less lethal than a bullet, yeah. Now, granted, it's definitely
painful.
You can definitely, yeah.
I have seen some horrid things done to people with knives.
Well,
yes.
I want to be able to kind of shed some light to that one.
Much more up close and personal than a gun.
I'd rather get shot than stabbed.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, have you ever? I mean, when it comes to using knives, that's the die you kind of way of killing somebody. It really is.
Yeah.
It's up close, personal, ugly.
That's what I just said.
Hair, teeth, and eyeballs. None of it's yours. It's ugly.
Yeah.
It's not less lethal. It's brutal. It's medieval.
Okay, but you have to do a lot more work.
It can be disgusting.
You have to do a lot more work than shooting somebody.
Yeah, and it's deeply personal. Don't get me wrong. I take pride in somebody who uses a good knife. I like knives. I'm a big fan of knives. I like knife work. I'm just saying I wouldn't call it less lethal.
Okay, so alternative.
It's not a beanbag. It's
the alternative defense methods to a firearm. How about that,
I can
Gary?
go with that.
That work for you?
I can go with that.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Am I weird for thinking of grilling something right now? I don't know.
No. I mean, as a matter of fact, if you want to cut a steak off of Jeff, I won't stop you.
Now, bring it on. Let's go. Because I happen to have one of Lad's knives on me, and I tell you what, it's not going to be easy.
I actually watched Mythbusters, and they proved the point that a knife is actually faster within 18 feet than a gun.
Yeah,
so,
21 feet.
Yeah, they went up to 21. Of course, they went beyond that, and then it started to fail after that. But I got to tell you, I came as a total noob a few years ago. I was totally against guns, against knives. I was like one of these globalist dummies, just ignorant to the whole fact of, personal protection. It's actually not a bad thing.
So you were a Democrat?
No, I didn't follow anything. Really.
Wait.
Honestly,
you were from Massachusetts, though, right?
I was born in Massachusetts,
Okay.
raised in South Florida, moved back up to Massachusetts, lived in New York, and then I moved to Houston.
Gotcha.
And then things started to change. But what happened in kind of my evolution of understanding was when we were trying to launch a business and weren't getting the loans that we needed back in 2008 when things started to, go downhill.
Right.
We moved from New York realizing things weren't going to work out so well.
Gotcha.
We read Robert Kiyosaki's, one of his audiobooks I listened to is called Prophecy. And he talked about the demise of 2008. So we decided, honey, we got to move. We're leaving New York. And she's from there, and she's like, where are we going to go?
Right.
And I was part of one of these real estate programs and went to Fort Myers to take one of these classes. And I talked to about 60 people, come to find out later on down the road that Houston really was the best place to move when it came to real estate market. So I called her back up, and she's like, okay, when are you coming back home, honey? And I was like, well, I'm coming back home, and we're moving to Houston. And she's like, what? When are you getting back home? And so I said, well, we'll talk a little bit about that later. So went back to New York, and we went on vacation, knew some friends here in Houston, stayed with them, and in about 4 days we picked a house, and I had a house built, and then we just moved. That was it. And then 2008 came, and it happened. And it happened actually worse than what we thought. And so nobody listened. We did, though. We got out of everything we could get out of. And actually, even some of the houses that we bought, purchased for cash flow purposes, and some of the houses we flipped, we sold everything. So we didn't really take much of a loss on anything at all. Good thing is that throughout that time, I started looking at alternative methods of trying to figure out what do we do next.
Right.
My wife went back to her full-time job in human resources, and so she's working full-time, and that's great. But I needed to find out, what do I need to do? And that's when I kind of woke up. Alex Jones became part of that understanding, as well as Robert Kiyosaki's new series that he came out with. It was a DVD thing that he put out. It was called How to Think for the Future.
Right.
And he taught this program called PERT. And it's prepare, evaluate, review, and transition. From that point forward, I realized, okay, it's not about how do we start a business, it's how you have a successful business, and what did you take with the steps before that.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of the opposite theory. Boom, overnight, this thought hit my head. Home security and personal protection products. Because as we see the demise of our dollar happening, what's going to happen to our personal space? Well, that's going to be invaded.
Right.
And how do you limit that? Well, home security for cameras, but then we tried to get that going, but it didn't pan out too well. And the reason why is because you got Sam's Club and Costco, and they're doing better with that because they have lesser expensive products, and their return policies are a little bit better. So even though we sold high-quality products, we just couldn't compete. So what we did afterwards was we looked at what was selling on our site. And flashlights and lasers, the lasers that you'd put on your shotgun, handguns, and rifles, more so green lasers were one of our better sellers. But that kind of dried up as well because, we were looking at what else can we sell? That was a $300-400 item, and now people are looking at lesser expensive items because people are running out of money.
Right.
So I'm like, how do we service people to protect them in an inexpensive way doing it without having to, affect their wallet too much? Well, flashlights was one way, especially with strobe flashlights, and you got, tactical ends, it's, serrated ends, you could hit somebody and run. But then I'm looking at, well, what about pocket knives? Well, we looked around, and some guy actually was flipping out this Karambit knife at one of the booths at the Houston Gun and Knife Show that we were at, because we do it every month. And I think it was, where was that? Where do they do the Houston Gun and Knife shows? Central area cannot. It's
talking about Reliant or a GRP?
Reliant.
Okay.
Yeah. So right in that area. So it was really great. It worked for us for a little while, but this guy kept on pulling this knife out, and it was actually made by Fox, and I didn't know anything about knives really. So I'm kind of an anal guy. I do a lot of research. I Google a lot of information, and I'm a factoid junkie. So it didn't take much for me to get smart when it came to realizing how useful this knife was. And so that's when I started diving into, okay, how do we get this product in our hand? And that's.
And if you don't know what a Karambit is, it is not your typical looking knife.
No, it's not.
It's not. I would almost describe it as being a raptor's talon.
Yes, it is.
So it's a
hooked
design.
Blade.
Yeah, it's a hooked blade. The design, if I remember correctly, it originated out of like the South Pacific, like the Philippines or something like that. Very much a utilitarian knife. Some of them are actually larger. The ones I've seen from friends that were from that region, than something you would carry in your pocket. But it's a very common knife in that region.
It
was actually a farming tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, 18 generations ago, that's what it really was. And it was even non-sharp for some point for rice pulling. So, I mean, a lot of this was used not for, defense or anything like that, but it became that. It evolved into that. And Ernie Emerson, when he put out his combat Karambit with the wave catch feature, that became one of his chosen knives. That's one of his favorite knives. And that's when we became resellers for that company. But then I wanted to find out, again, more about Fox. And how come theirs is half the price? So what we decided to do, I called up Mike Vellekamp. He's co-founder, owner of Fox Knives USA in Puyallup, Washington. And then when I got in touch with him, we became resellers for him as well. And he's not only the Emerson family sent us, some of their knives, we got some of his knives, and we compared the two. And within a couple of days, it didn't take much for me to realize, my gosh, this is like same exact quality. There really was no difference between the two knives in their quality, except for the cost. It was literally half the cost. And it had Ernie Emerson's patent feature right on it. It had his patent right on it, and it worked just the same, no different. So we started to look further into what could we do to take this knife even further. There were some pros and cons to both knives. And with Ernie's knife, the ring feature is only 18 millimeters wide. At least the older model was. And the catch feature on this thing that pops the knife open right on your pants, it's just insane. I mean, it's not spring featured at all. I mean, it's got nothing.
Very, very fast.
Oh, it's the fastest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And there's nothing faster, and especially with the ring feature and your hand being anatomically right next to your pant pocket, and the ring feature being right there at the pant pocket, you don't have to take your eye off the situation.
Right.
You can just, and I know
just
I'm in the studio,
draw.
just standing up. Here I am with this knife, and I just pull this thing out, and it's ready.
Right.
The fastest thing you're going to find, there's nothing faster. But the issue that we came into, again, is hand size. The ring feature on his knife, although the grip is perfect on his knife, the ring feature is kind of tight for my finger, and I have to pull it off like a wedding band almost. Right. Now, for the Fox Karambit, the opposite was true. The ring feature was perfect, but the knife was a little bit longer.
Right.
And you kind of have to force gap it. And the way this is force grooved, you have to gap your fingers this way because it's different than a regular knife. You could choke up on it if you didn't want to use the ring, but the whole purpose was to use the ring.
Gotcha.
So we went back with Mike, and I begged him to talk with the Frati family. They're the ones that owns Fox Knives out in Italy, and Orest and Massimo. And they put out close to about, I don't know, between 800, 1,000 different knives. They're a huge manufacturing plant. They're just amazing, and the quality is just no different than what I'd find with Emerson knives or anybody top quality. But I asked him, I begged him, I said, can we go open up the CAD drawing? Can we small up the knife just a little bit by a half inch to match more Ernie Emerson's size on his Combat Karambit, but keep the same ring feature? So now you got the best of both worlds. And that model's called the 599.
Okay.
And that's the one that you'd find on our website. Our website's theultimateknife.com.
Okay.
And if you're to go on there, again, it's theultimateknife.com. And you'd be able to see the array of knives and our video. And it describes everything. It actually shows you how the knife deploys within that 5-minute video. So that's basically it.
Very cool.
Now, the Karambit is one of our. We have started stocking the Fox because we couldn't keep the Emerson knives in stock. They only became available like once every 6 months or something.
Right. Actually, it was about 8 or 9 months, and I could only get about 15 or 20.
Right.
Yeah.
And because we carry the Fox brand, we sell about 20 of Ernie Emerson's product line with the Karambit, but we sell many, many hundreds more of the Fox brand.
And this is something that Tracy carries in her she carries it on a daily basis, and she shows everybody in her CHL classes, and especially in her ladies only CHL classes, that this is easily carried. It's a small, lightweight knife, and it's deployed in no time. And people are shocked when she whips it out of her pocket and that blade comes hooking out of there. And then she's got the ring around your index finger, and so that can act as, one, keeping control of the knife, and two, it's almost like a brass knuckle around your finger.
Yeah,
and
very
so
much.
it can be definitely used as a punching tool. And so this thing, while considered would this be considered a utility knife?
No, this is both, actually.
Okay,
you could use it as a utilitarian device, and you could use it as a defense tool. And I got to tell you, there is nothing that is better for a defense tool than this knife. There just is. I haven't found it.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. I look at mine, and I don't look at this and say, I'm going to go cut a box open with this, like I would a utility knife.
Yeah.
But this is something that, this is serious hardware. If somebody was on top of me, it would definitely be a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to tell you, one of the things, and I want you to finish, but I was just looking at Xbox Magazine. I was walking in, and you see Splinter Cell, the new game. And I used to be a big time gamer, and I got away from doing all that stuff because I'm really more focused on the business, my kids, and my wife, and all that. So the gaming part of your life is goodbye.
It's called adulthood. It
exactly. Well, no, actually, I like it. I really love it, and my drive for the business is really, I just love just serving people. It's just a lot of fun for me. But I looked at the front of the new one. I think it's called Splinter Cell Blacklist. And the front of the magazine, I took a picture of it. And when you look up close, there's a knife. But what kind of knife is it? It's a Karambit knife. And with the company that's going to be working with us, doing the actual footage, they're actually be doing a small 5-part miniseries on the product itself, and they're going to be putting it on YouTube. And we're looking at doing a DVD series with Fighting Karambit and actually a teacher. An instructor that knows what they're doing. They specialize in Karambit fighting training. They already said that, with a handgun, what's the next two things that you have with concealed carry? Flashlight and a knife.
Right.
And he said, really, what people really should have is flashlight and a Karambit. Mm-hmm. Because when you really think about it, there is no better utilitarian and defense tool that you're going to find that actually can, like what you said, this Talon hook-shaped blade, it's natural. It digs in. It's just a natural thing that happens, especially when you're coming across. And most of your power, especially when you're holding the blade in reverse, most of your power is going to come off the back part of your hand where your pinky is. So when you're pushing in or you're jabbing, you got this knife and this thing extends. And the controllability is just insane. Yeah. The other thing is being able to hold on to it. Your adrenaline kicks in, and I know a lot of people that learn defense training, they find ways on disarming a knife. Especially with this one, it becomes that much harder to disarm because of that ring feature. And also, you're not going to slide the knife and cut yourself in the process because that ring feature prevents you from cutting yourself.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. If you use a regular knife on somebody, if you hit a rib bone or something like that, it'd be very easy for your hand to slide up the knife and cut yourself on your own blade.
Yep.
That isn't going to happen. Now, you talked about the wave catch feature. Let's describe the wave catch feature so our listeners know what that is.
Okay. It's a notch on the back of the blade that Ernest Emerson designed. And he designed this thing as actually an accident. If you want to know a little bit more, you can get on our site on theultimateknife.com, get to the video and articles section, and watch the interview that I had with Ernie Emerson. It's about the second or third video down. You'll see it. And the thing about the notch feature that he created by accident, he was using it as a beer opener, bottle opener. And when his friend, who I guess the guy that he was trying to design this added feature to, called him up and said, whoa, wait, do you know what this thing is doing? As they popped it out of the pocket, the edge of the pant loop, this thing was opening up the blade. And as they got more fluid with it, Ernie then realized, oh my gosh, I got something going here. This is a one-handed deployable unit. This thing can actually, with a liner lock device, you can actually pop this thing, lock it open, and it's not spring-loaded. So you don't have to worry about laws that have spring assist knives or whatever. So this thing will pop right open. That's it. It's ready. And you don't have to take your eye off any given situation, and it's one-handed deployable. This wave catch feature that's on there, again, it deploys, and if you go on our site when you watch the video, you'll be able to see, and I do it in slow motion to actually show you how it deploys from the edge of your pant loop pocket if you want it to deploy from there. If you don't, you don't have to. But it's great to know that you have that option, and it's instant. That's it. It's the fastest thing around.
Now, how does the metal compare on Fox knives versus, say, the Emerson knives?
Okay. Now, a lot of people may have their opinions, and I've been on the forums, and I don't get into all the arguments.
Listen,
I just say this.
We're on gun forums, so we understand. We feel your pain.
And it's no insult to anybody. I know everyone's got an opinion. I never want to squash anybody's opinion. My thing, I go by the compounds. And when you're looking at 440C, that's the most common stainless, steel around. And yeah, it's great and doesn't rust and whatever. It's fantastic. But when you're looking at better grades of steel, 154 CM is the United States' chosen better steel. Mm-hmm. And for Europe's chosen better steel, especially for Fox, is 690 cobalt stainless steel. That is their chosen steel. So is one better than the other? No, they're both the same high quality over 440C.
Okay.
So I hope that helps out a little bit. And I don't know if I'll hear any feedback from anybody on it, but anyway.
I'm not a steel expert. I don't, at the end of the day, my thing is how well does it hold a blade or hold an edge? How easily can I restore that edge after I've used it? 440 back in the day when that was a really common steel, some blade, I think that heat treating it was an issue. Some people heat treat their blades such that you couldn't fix the edge once it was gone.
Yeah.
And then others you could never get it to keep an edge.
Well, this is different. I mean, 690 cobalt stainless steel is insane, and it's double edged, so it's not chisel edged like Ernest Emerson's.
Typical Emerson blade. Yeah.
But that's his choice, and it works fantastic. I mean, oh my gosh, if you were to slide, I'll just slide my thumb across here just a little bit. Look at this. It just naturally digs into my skin.
Yeah.
So, man, he's got a formidable blade, man. You don't jack with this thing. With the 690 cobalt stainless double-edged steel that's on the Fox Knife brand, it's just as sharp. But the thing that I like about it is that I actually have a guy, because I said, how do I resharpen a knife, especially if it's double-edged and I know I can sharpen it's a talon-shaped blade? How do you do that? Well, WickedEdgeUSA.com is a knife sharpening company. Again, it's Wicked Edge USA, and I'm trying to remember the man's name. I haven't talked to him in about a year and a half, actually. It'll come to me eventually. But this gentleman put out a knife sharpening unit that it costs her a little bit over $200, but you'll have it for a lifetime. I bought it, and we did a small little exchange thing. I gave him a knife or two, and then he gave me the unit at discount price, and I worked it out, and he showed me exactly how to do it and how to use it. And actually on video, you can learn how to use it on YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel, and I'm not kidding you. Sharpens it within about 10 minutes, and it's just insanely sharp. And he actually did it for about a half hour, just stropping, leather stropping. That's all he did. And he put about 15 to 2,000, just rounds of it, just doing it over and over, just watching a TV show, just doing it. It's pretty therapeutic if you watch the video and how he does it. It's really incredible. Anyway, he did it, and what blew my mind away, I went to the blade show back in 2011, and I just touched the blade. It almost sank right into my thumb. I said, what the heck did you do to this Fox blade? He said, no. He said, it's what I did before. He said, I actually down hit this sucker on double corrugated cardboard about 300 times, and I've still yet to sharpen that thing. I said, that's how good the quality of the steel is? I was even blown away and humbled by it. So this steel is phenomenal.
Yeah, cardboard is about the worst thing you can do to a blade.
And he went against it, down about 300 times, he told me, and it was still that sharp. I couldn't believe it.
That is impressive.
Well, lad, we couldn't break you into this program properly without letting Eastside Daryl break you in. So that's all I got to say. I'm going to go ahead and throw the holy water on you right now. And now, welcome to Guns Over Texas, Daryl. What do you say?
I can't believe what you just said about that. I'm not going to cry because I'm a grown man.
Okay.
Hey, and I got Aylin in my eyes. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay.
I'd just like to get my hands on one of your knives. I hope you don't give me a coronary about the price, and I'd like to know the price and location. And one other thing, since Jeff started, those guys up there, they're Republicans, and I watch them in the bathroom. They have wide stances.
Hey, hold it. I think you're talking about the wrong show here, Daryl. I certainly do not label myself as a Republican, you Democrat.
No, you're a Democrat, and I've never labeled myself as a Democrat, so I just figured you had a wide stance.
Wow.
Well, Jeff swings all kinds of ways, so who knows?
So I figured that Daryl must have underage prostitutes in Venezuela.
Wow.
As well, so.
Okay, we got to keep it a family show.
A female, Jeff, not male like yours.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, keeping it a family show.
Daryl is about to face the banhammer. So, Daryl?
Hey, I was just trying to find out how much the knives are and where I could get them, and you.
Well, and Jeff, you're offering these knives, and how much are you selling them for?
We sell them at Shiloh Shooting Range. They go for $159.
Okay.
And so you can come by and pick those up.
Yep.
So, Daryl, you're more than welcome to come by and pick those up anytime that I'm there. Come on by.
Hey, I like lemonade flavored holy water.
There you go. Well, if you want to find out more about the knife, I don't know if you've been listening to the show from the beginning, but like I said, you can just get on theultimateknife.com, just watch the video. And then, if you're wanting to pick it up, then you can go, you can talk to him and
you can go to Shiloh. You can pick it up from the website. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and we have posted a link to ultimateknife.com on our Facebook page.
Okay. Now I'm pinned on one, right? Okay, I'll remember that. Ultimateknife.com.
Yeah, the Ultimate Knife. Make sure it's the, T-H-E, the Ultimate Knife.
All right. theultimateknife.com. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and yeah.
All right, so let's head out to Katie.
Why'd you do that? That's
Karen
wrong.
and Katie.
Wow.
Welcome to Guns Over Texas. Karen, what do you say?
Hey, guys. How are y'all tonight?
Fantastic. And actually, Karen, you recently purchased one of these Fox Karambits.
I got one of the Emersons.
No, it's a Fox with
It's
the Emerson patent.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I love it.
I'm glad you like it.
I absolutely love it. And I got the phone call today, and Jeff, you're holding 2 of them for me, and I will be up there Tuesday to pick them up. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't thank me, thank Lad. We weren't supposed to have him for 4 to 6 weeks, and he came through this week. So we've got him, and you can come get him anytime.
Yep.
Now,
well,
Karen
thank
actually
you,
had
you,
one, but her husband stole it already.
No, I stole it back. I couldn't part with it. He had it one day, and I said, nope, you got to give it back to me.
I don't blame you at all. Houston, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more Guns Over Texas. Welcome back to Guns Over Texas, Houston. Okay. As usual, the best stuff happens on the break. That's how you know, in my opinion, you've got a quality product if somebody can get as excited about it as you do.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I love it.
It's not a manufactured excitement. You have a legitimate, awesome knife here.
Yeah.
And you're an excited dude, man. You were happy to have these.
Oh yeah, and it was kind of a discovery. I mean, I'm like I said, you know, I'm super grateful because, especially to Ernest Emerson when he invented this thing by accident, and however he worked this thing out from that point forward, he was very wise to patent it. And it's done very well for him. And I got to say thank you to him and his family. I'm so grateful I got a good relationship with them. I don't deserve it. And it's the same thing with Mike Vellecamp and Fox Knives USA. I'm very thankful to have the relationship I have with him, as well as the Frati family out in Fox Knives out in Italy. I mean, it's a combination of all of them, and it's just what we see and just the redesign on the knife because we wanted to do something a little bit smaller with the 599 model. To fit more of the medium to extra large hand. But, for anybody that's looking for a variety of sizes, I mean, if you get stuck on anything, you can give me a call, or if you want to be able to get on the site and just watch the videos, you can, or email us. We have everything on our contact page on our site at theultimateknife.com. But, yeah, I love it. I mean, I really have a strong passion for this. I'm very thankful that I have this and the relationship I have. And we are actually the only exclusive national reseller of the 599 model. So nobody else has that. And, again, super grateful that it's half the price.
And people really like the way that $5.99 fits their hands.
Yeah.
I said, Tracy at the range, she carries the Emerson knives. And when we put that $5.99 in her hand, she liked it a lot more. It really fit her hand a lot better.
Yeah, and even to extra large. I mean, I got a 4-inch with hand, and this is where I go by sizing. If you were to take all your fingers in your thumb, pretend like they don't even exist, and only measure from your index pointer finger all the way across to your pinky, and measure across from 0 to whatever inches it ends. If it's at 4 inches or less, get the $5.99. If it's over 4 inches, then you can get the 479 G10 or the 480 camo or the 478 aluminum. Those are the models that you can get if you have a double XL type hand. But it's rare. I mean, it's very rare that we find those people that have that. And typically, more times than not, 95% of our customers really should be getting the 599 model.
Now, there is what you could consider a drawback to the 599, and that's where the belt clip is. It's a very aggressive texture.
Yes.
And so you strongly recommended to go ahead and sand that down a little bit.
Yes, and I jacked up my pants, and what I did was, before I ruined my pants any further, I said, well, let me stick a quarter in between it, and then I stuck another quarter, and the thing, because it's tempered steel, it just popped and almost hit me right in the eye. Ooh. And there's really very little flex to this clip. Right. But the thing I like about the Fox clip is it has no real, flex to it. And that's what I like about it. It only has just enough to fit over your pant loop, and that's it. And it stays that way. I've never had this knife fall out of my pocket, ever, in the 2 years that I've had it. Just never happened, So that's what I love about it,
So not going to fall out of your pocket, and not going to fall out of your hand either.
Yep. So it's fantastic.
Good deal.
All right, now Gary, we had a caller named Adrian from Sweeney. He called in, couldn't stay on the line because he's at work, but he is listening. We won't tell anybody, Adrian. He recently bought one of those ISSC M22 pistols. It looks like a Glock type 22. You know what I'm talking about? There is a thumb safety on the rear of the slide.
Yeah.
He wanted to know what type of ammo to run through it. So the manual said high velocity only.
I'm not a big 22. It's going to be a 22 long rifle.
Yeah.
And the I think it's CCI Stingers.
CCI Mini-Mag.
Is,
what we have the most success with.
Well, that's anytime I've had a 22 that needed a high velocity 22. That's what I've run through it. There may be some others out there from Remington and others, but the CCI Mini-Mags have been consistent for me.
At this time, if you're looking for CCI Mini-Mags, you are SOL.
Yeah, actually,
sadly out of luck.
Yes,
there you go. That's the one.
Yes, actually, and that is true. Unfortunately, for 22 in general.
Yeah.
We were talking with Rudy Zarubi of Freedom Munitions last week. And I've talked with Hornady and a few other people who are here over the last week or so, and it is not that nobody's producing it. It is simply that the demand is so high that they just can't produce enough to feed the demand. It's Hornady is one of those companies that their production isn't all military. The military and law enforcement probably represents only 5% of their production, but again, there's so much demand that even with 95% of their production going to civilian applications, they can't meet demand, and that's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can hope that will kind of relax a little bit, but we're looking at, if we didn't order another thing starting today, it's still 6 to 9 months before most of these guys can begin to catch up with filling the orders they already have.
Yeah, and I think 6 to 9 months is a very nice estimate. I think that's on the low end.
That is on the low end. I mean, I've heard as much as 18 months, depending on the product. So,
I can tell you during the big rush in 2008, we ordered a bunch of ammo from Georgia Arms.
Right.
And 2 years later, I received 60,000 rounds of Georgia Arms delivered to the range. It took them 2 years to fill it. I completely forgot that we had even
ordered it.
I didn't even know that order was out there. Didn't get any emails from them, nothing.
Yeah.
Just one day.
Until that credit card bill hit.
UPS man comes pulling up and says, "Hey, buddy, you're going to owe me a water for bringing all this in."
Yeah, wow. So and the thing is just that the market has grown so much. We were talking earlier, we in Texas we had maybe 250,000 concealed handgun licensees prior to 2008, and now we're pushing 750,000. And that 250,000 number had been hovering around that number almost since the inception of the program in the mid '90s. So to have it triple.
Does anybody have more than Texas? Does Florida?
I don't know that anybody has more licensees than Texas. We are a shall issue state, and it's funny that here we are, all these years past the Civil War, and a black guy would say that come to Texas, it's a free state. But it's true. I think that we have one of the best models there is. The only thing I would say that's better is Vermont. As long as you don't have any evil in your heart, you can carry. That's the only thing that's even better. The numbers are just absolutely amazing for Texas, and the like I said, when you've got that kind of market growth, that's just this one state. That's not looking at the other 49 states. Or I think our president will say 53
57.
or something. 57. Other 58 states.
Oh, 58. Yeah, you'd already been to 57.
So yeah, but obviously we all took geography at some point in time. So the other 49 states.
Most of us
he didn't learn his in America. Apparently.
No, he didn't. So so we've got 49 other states, and they're actually, as of a few weeks ago, I think Illinois was told that they're going to have to be shall issue, or at least allow some sort of concealed carry. And so we now have all 50 states allowing some form of concealed carry, whether it be shall issue, may issue, or something like that.
I can't wait to see what kind of hoops Illinois is going to make people jump through.
Yeah, because the hoops as is just to get a FOID card or not. It's a $10 application, but it's a black box. Nobody really knows how you get on or off the list. The Illinois State Police may just kind of go, you can't have one, and you're stuck.
But some states want to go ahead and do their CHL. When we got 3 states wanting to ban guns altogether, California is looking at revocation or no longer continuing with the NFA trust.
Correct. Yeah. It's an unfortunate situation, and all of it is an absolute knee-jerk reaction to the tragedy of Sandy Hook, it's.
Well, have you heard Washington State recently? Mm-hmm. It's always liberals who say, "Don't worry, no one's coming to your door for your guns." Yeah. Well, Seattle Democrats want to put their law enforcement officers in harm's way and do just that.
Right.
Responding to Newtown, this bill would ban the sale of semi-auto weapons that use detachable ammunition magazines.
Right.
So basically,
which is basically any modern firearm,
and rifle,
right.
Here it goes: clips that contain more than 10 rounds would be illegal. Yeah. Magazines, is the word they're looking for.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Garans running around with 10-round magazines.
Right. Anyway, it says, in order to continue to possess an assault weapon, which, once again, if I were to throw my iPhone at you, it's an assault weapon.
An assault weapon, correct.
In order to continue to possess an assault weapon that was legally possessed on the effective date of this section, the person possessing shall safely and securely store the assault weapon. The sheriff of the county may, no more than once per year, conduct an inspection to ensure compliance with this subsection.
Jeez.
So police are coming to check your guns in Washington State if Democrats have
and there's no definition of what is safe and proper storage. It's the discretion of the officer.
That's right. And Colorado has fired an
opening salvo
of anti-gun measures, and they're about to put 700 or 800 people out of business just at Magpul alone if they do this.
Yeah, 200 employees directly at Magpul plus at least 400 downstream suppliers to them. So, or I should say upstream suppliers to them. So, now I will say that, Magpul is more than welcome to come to Texas.
Please,
I think that we would all be very supportive of that company, and all of their suppliers.
So. Well, I ask all of our listeners, in order to assure that our future as gun owners are not further endangered, I implore all of us to log on to Ruger.com and click on the Take Action Now button. This will give you direct links to state legislators so that you can give them a piece of your mind. And act now, because if you do nothing, people, then you're only helping the gun control crowd accomplish their goals.
Right. We actually posted a link to that on our Facebook page a while back, but we'll post a new link now. If you've never seen that before, it makes it super easy to contact your congressman or senator and make your voice heard, because there's this weird belief out there from the president and the vice president that most gun owners agree with them, and I keep
seeing all these liberal rag news sources, these opinion sources is what they are. They're not news sources, they're opinion sources.
Right.
And CNN is headed that way too, saying that 85 to 90%.
I'm sorry.
of NRA members support more gun control measures.
No.
I tell you what,
most of us support enforcement of what's on the books now.
I agree. I meet at least 1,000 people a week.
Right.
And out of those 1,000 people a week, I bet half of them are NRA members.
I would guess
firearms industry. And I don't know one of them that wants more legislation.
Right.
So that is some of the most asinine statistics. They make stuff up. They like to take polls.
The thing is that
let's take 17 households in California or in New York, where these people happen to be NRA members, and let's put that as our source.
They are NRA members who say they're NRA members.
Yeah.
We don't really know that they are.
Yeah. And if they are, it's only so that they can be a part
liberal
of this
media
poll.
garbage. They take reality, they ingest it, and what spews out of their rear end, they say, yeah, this is great. It's awesome. Smells a little funky, but okay.
I would be remiss. Now, lad, we're going to get back to you and talk some knives here in just a second. But I would be remiss if I did not give kudos to two companies, LaRue Tactical.
Midway USA?
I didn't hear about Midway, but LaRue Tactical and Olympic Arms.
Yes.
LaRue sent out a letter to state and law enforcement agencies telling them that due to recent and numerous new anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment laws passed and or pending across our country, LaRue Tactical has been forced to reconsider how we provide products to state and local agencies. Effective today, in an effort to see that no legal mistakes are made by LaRue and or its employees, we will apply all current and state and local laws as applied to civilians to state and local law enforcement government agencies. In other words, LaRue will limit all sales to what law-abiding citizens residing in their districts can purchase or possess.
What I wish they would do is do it to the federal government.
Well, now, Ronnie Barrett did that.
Ronnie Barrett did that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that that's probably right around the corner for good old Mark LaRue. Yeah. Olympic Arms has done that with New York, so they're not supplying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I said that weeks ago. I really think that if our industry is going to survive, we all need to band together. And when these states decide, okay, well, it is insane to me that someone in California would sit there and talk out of both sides of their mouth, saying nobody needs this, but my agency is going to turn around and buy 7,000 new ones. Mm-hmm. Now it's a personal defense weapon because it's for us, but when it's yours, it's an assault weapon. You shouldn't have this.
That's right. It's not a self-defense weapon for you. It's an assault weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what did Midway USA do?
Well, same thing. Midway has basically said that in states that are passing these laws saying that civilians can't own it, they won't sell it to the law enforcement agencies. If NYPD calls up and says, "Hey, we want 30,000 Glock 17 magazines," sorry, we're not selling them to you.
This is something that the firearms industry as a whole needs to realize, that we are all in this together.
Yep.
I don't care if you're a separate manufacturer and you're trying to shut down somebody else, you're trying to outsell somebody else. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to get involved.
You know who
in
needs
this.
to be given a little bit of credit, because Bill Ruger was the guy who gave us the 10-round limit.
Yes.
And a lot of folks have never forgiven him or his company for that. But Ruger, as it stands today, as a company,
they are taking a lead.
They have turned around and apparently have learned the errors of their ways. Ruger's probably turning over his grave. Oh well, good riddance. But the company, as it stands today, has apparently learned from their previous errors, and they're taking the lead and standing up for us as an industry. And so people need to give them credit for that. Same with Smith & Wesson. Hopefully they'll come out with a similar announcement soon. I think that there are a lot of people there that feel the same way, and I hope that the industry as a whole takes the example that has been given by Ronnie Barrett and Mark LaRue and all those guys.
Now, lad, back to the knives.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get you in trouble here, and I hope we don't start seeing legislation for assault knives.
Well, see, that's the thing. In the beginning of our video, I mean, I wasn't blowing smoke. I mean, I already knew that the health care bill is really gun control.
Right.
And look at how it's evolved already. And going back to the theater shooter, and then you go back to the Connecticut shooting situation, they question the gun. They don't question the serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
Right.
That those two children, now men, that needed really counseling. They needed help. They needed parenting, and it's not the fault, do you fault the parents? I don't know. But, when you look at that, again, go back to my video. When you watch the intro of the video, they're always pushing gun legislation. I'm thinking, what's going to happen with knives? But that's the reason why I try to encourage people, look, if you're going to do anything, you do it now.
Right.
You don't wait till then it's too late. Then what's going to happen to importation laws? Those things are changing.
Right.
Even in Australia, it's changing. It's unfortunate. It's almost scary for me because I think about it and I'm like, gosh, I don't want to talk about it. But the fact is, they've outlawed it in Australia.
Yep.
Notch assisted.
Yep.
I was like, boy, they got creative. They waited, actually, because the guy that was supposed to get it, he got it, and they waited at customs for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
And then when it passed, they never gave it to him.
Wow.
And so he was out of, SOL, sadly out of luck, so.
Well, lad, thank you for joining us today. That is the end of Guns Over Texas. That's 2 hours down, and we had a good time having you on the show, and I'm sure we're going to have you on again. You proved your mettle as somebody who could get behind the microphone and paint a picture for the audience. So we appreciate you coming in.
I'm glad I came.
Houston, we appreciate you listening, as always, and we look forward to having you out at Shiloh Shooting Range. Get your concealed handgun license now if you don't have it yet. Call them at 281-444-8930 to schedule your concealed handgun license. That's 2 hours down at Guns Over Texas, Houston. Shoot straight.